Release management boundaries. We're looking at ITIL service transition, and more specifically, what are the boundaries, the extent of release management itself? Release management provides a framework to plan and communicate progress on information technology service transitions. You might say, well, where does that fit? Now, if we look at how you go from an idea to end of life for a service in information technology, there's different processes to manage that. It's outside the scope of release management. That could be product management, that could be ITIL's service strategy, number of different things. But each time you might ask, where does release management fit? With services, where does release management fit? As services are managed from a crazy new idea to being sunsetted or end of life, every time that service is updated, there's a transition. And that happens several times throughout the life of a service. And each transition needs release management. A release starts with a definition of what ITIL calls a service design package, which defines high-level business requirements, service-level agreements, and a planned transition timeline. A release ends after the service is delivered, hopefully with happy and satisfied users. But we have to be honest, not all releases are successful. And service transitions don't iterate. They either fail or are successful as they go forward. So how's it done? Product or service lifecycle management initiates release management, again with the output of a service design package. Once release starts, it engages with project management to coordinate efforts. Project management, in turn, is going to work with other processes in your environment, such as environment management, data management, and then to deploy, it's either going to use enterprise deployment to move through multiple pre-production environments, or directly to change management to go directly to configuration items. So let's look at the life of a release. If we were going to divide them up into specific states that a release goes through in its life cycle, first there's a state where it's drafted, where we're structuring the elements of the release. We're working on what components and what timing it's going to take from the time we start to the time we end. We're going to get buy-in to make sure that everyone understands and agrees to the scope of the release. Then it goes to an accepted state where the boundaries aren't going to change, but we're waiting for work to begin. Then once the project management has the team engaged and they start executing, it goes into work in progress, or WIP. And it stays there until the developers are done and they hand it off to enterprise deployment or a change transition team to move it through the various environments to move to production. And in that deploy state, it could go through one or many environments in that testing. Once it's in production, the release will go into a review state where we can spend some time looking at whether the users were truly satisfied or not and what we've learned from the process of this service transition. After the review, the release is closed. So, what's the structure of a release? A release has to relate to one product or service. What service is it updating? Release can't update multiple products. It's a one-to-one. So a product might have many releases, but a release can only relate to one product. You may have a project that has multiple releases because they need to coordinate the update of several information technology products or services. But a release is made up of one or more features. And again, a feature is a business definition that comes out of the service design package. As that release is crafted, it's been worked on, and it needs to go through the deployment process, it's going to relate to either enterprise deployment or change management. So remember, release management provides a framework to plan and communicate progress on information technology service transitions.